Hello and welcome, as this is going to be a talk about a trading strategy which requires very little amounts of buy or sell orders. And I don't say it requires it, but it really does help. And a focus towards price action, only price pays amongst the 18 average of highs and lows. I use a front weighted, and it on here it just says weighted. It's the same as front weighted. And yes, we'll go back in time to back in here. You're in a situation where you want to get in, it's down a lot. And I'm always, if you think there's a good chance that it's not a bad coin, or know it's for sure, definitely a good one, then when you see the prices down like this should be a beautiful thing. I'm going to use Notepad to determine my buys and sells. This, again, everything you do is within your own risk, own reward. But you will see that this is a magnificent strategy to buy and sell. So now that we're in for a decent amount, you want to get more if the price gets cheaper. Start off by putting in some sell orders and buy orders. Price action's at 1400. We want to go to extreme levels for these. You want to have maybe just one or two. I mean, previous high in here, why not? That's around 30. Price action's at 10, 1400, so maybe a hair underneath that 10 number. And if there ever comes to a time where it gets there, you're going to be happy you got the sale. Buy orders, same thing. So you're in at 1431. You want a large discount if you're going to be buying via a buy order, because you're trying to catch somebody to sell the market way down, way too cheap. And I got negatives in here, but that's going to be 429. That's a fair enough number for this situation. Let's reset the scale. Here we have it. I didn't want to put that one in, but I can fix that. It's annoying. If I put a horizontal array and I have to push just another button, just so I don't push them all the time. But anyway, what we're looking to do is sell when price action gets above this 18 average of highs. We'll put all the buys and sells in this notepad. We can see that if it goes down to that line, we would buy at 429. Now here's a situation where a sell order can be placed at 1418, which would interestingly be a losing situation. Who cares? Because we're only selling a little bit, and we're going to get that back. At least we plan to. The play is when it has a nice break above the 18 average, you sell. And you buy it back when it reaches or breaks the 18 average of lows. There is another sale. 2403 we'll take. Again, you are selling in portions here. But you also want to sell enough where if you keep on selling, you would run out normally. So if you have your sell order in here, that would hit. I could buy back at 1765, my last sale, but I'm not going to. Here's a spot where I will, because the price went below the 18 average. It's down to 1567, which is still cheaper than my last buy by a decent, or last sell rather, by a decent amount. So I'll buy at 1567. Continue on, and again, I don't want to sell until it goes above this 18. If there's a nice break below, what was the previous sell before that? 1418. You could just say, you know what? I sold here. I said I was going to get back cheaper. 1069. Let's do it. Okay, there we have it. So you see this day a break up to 1636. If this is the price at the closing time, then you're going to get around it. You might get 16.10 or whatever, but still going to work. So sell 16.36. And we don't want to buy that back unless it goes to the 18 lows. We don't want to sell unless we can get prices up well above here, like well over 2,000. So there's the 18 average of lows, and the price looks like 1112 to me. That's the buyback. Okay, continue on through time. Do you want to buy at 815? That's a nice, decent price. Let's do it. Now, if I have any buy orders, it'd probably be like 200 now or 300. So if I had a buy order, say at 550, I'd probably reduce it in a situation like this. I know I got one in here, but I'm not going to hit it unless it's around 200 and high chain, or 201, 202. So time's moving on. Not much is going on. Many days. We're out of the year 2017. And the market's moving, but not enough where I can sell or buy anything yet. Now, I'm also going to talk about situations when the market grinds its way up higher without any big gains in any particular day. Then at some point you just take profits. Same thing when grinding lower by buying back. So now this is a situation at 10:36. What was the last buy? 8:15? Meh, no. Would you have sold at 11.25? It's not that big of a move above the 18. It's not that large of an overall rally. Would you do so at 11.73? Same thing. Now here, 12.63. You're in an area where you'd be testing quite a bit. You're also at a price action point where you bought at 800. It's a 50% gain, so no. Although now you can see you would be able to buy back, but moving on forward. You can see the ideal thing for this has always been to get these sell orders in. But there we go right there. You come up this day and you see it's at 19.16. You gotta sell. Your last buy was 8.15 and 11.12. So sell 19.16. So we wait for an 18 average of lows. That's the highs. Yeah, that works for me. 11.47 is your buyback. That's like a good gain. And I think this can be done with many different codes. And I'm going to be looking at this with many of them and probably executing the strategy upon many of them. Now you got a situation where it breaks down below here at 9.36-ish or so. Do you want to buy some more? Don't need to, no. I want a deeper retracement down lower. Okay, so there's a sell right here at 17.69. I mean, this is a spot where you don't have sell orders. You just turn your computer on after dinner. This is the market you seen last night before you went to dinner. It was this. And you're like, oh, happy. You see one of the top gainers on the chart up about 76% is UNB. You're all excited because you seen it right when you logged on. But anyway, we're waiting for the 18 average of lows again. Nice gain. But that's a nicer gain. 31.42. You got more to sell. Now again, checks for sell orders. You can move these buy orders up too when this situation happens. Maybe up to about here or a hair above 1,000. So that buy order will be raised a little bit. Let's just keep it at 10. Let's go for the large, because you only have so many tokens. You have enough to sell maybe a couple more times in here. But after that, you're going to be running thin for having amounts left to sell. Wow. You missed it. You lowered a little bit. Oh, how sweet that'd be to have like 6,400. But that's fine. There's going to be a lot of profits in this game. 18 average. Look how fat this thing is getting. Okay, 1966. That's cheaper than the 3142. And one could even say that, you know what, these things are so volatile, you can get cheaper. And I would say two things. One, yes, you're right, you probably would. But if this thing breaks out, that could very easily be the bottom where you start to talk about 5-6 digit prices later on down the line. So moving on through time again, is that good enough to sell at 27.59? It's okay above it. It's much better than where you sold last, so let's do it. Now one might say, you know what, wait a day because you could very easily get further acceleration. Exactly my point. And this is where you could suck up the loss or get buy back or wait for it to come lower below 2,900. I don't want to take a loss. How much do you got left to sell? Decent size volume. You sold last at 27. You should have some more left. The thing is, when you keep on buying and selling at these levels, you're trying to increase both your alt tokens, in this case Unbreakable, and your Bitcoin. So when you have situations of, say, buying at 815, say if you buy 1,000 as an example, when you're selling at 1916, you're only going to be selling maybe 700 of them, leaving 300 to sell for later. And then when you sell 700 at 1900 and you buy it back, you're going to buy over 1,000 of them back, or 1,100. So that's really going to be the basis towards a lot of these. So if you get out of hand and get a bunch of sell orders, because you're buying all these extra ones here and there, you're going to be able to allocate more for emergency situations. Okay, back to the 18, 3070. So that's a successful trade. At least on the 4,664 it is. I still want to get that 2759 back and hope that it has a nice move below this 18 average, somewhere around 2. And you can put your buy orders in to try to get them there, because if you're paying attention to the market, you can say to yourself, where is a decent amount below? Where would I normally want to sell and buy from? Okay, this in here was 21.49. We can see on this thing, you can get a better gain than that more times than not. Is it worth selling in here? No, unless you bought that 21.49. But nice little uptrend. Need to break that resistance to sell. There we go. That's a break of resistance. 51.41. And we want to buy it back at the 18. Or sell at much higher gains. I think we have a sell order in for on the 10 number. There we have a price at 43.54. Not a great gain, but it's still a gain. And you can sell it back, so that's a great gain. Buying at 43 and change and selling at 7K. Okay, I gotta get real. Like I say, if you sell at 7, I'm gonna be realistic here. You probably increase this up a little bit to say 12,760. And at the same point, this buy order is gonna have to get moved up at some point too. And that would have been realistically done. Selling, of course, last at 7. I don't want to sell at 7, then again at 10 with a sell order. I could even have went higher than that and even missed it, but I don't think so. 12,760 I'll do. You need to put a larger sell order in. We already got that one in. And just for fun, I don't even think it does go here, but if it does, I can't remember if it did. But you put a much larger one in. You got this one in place, which is fine. We did just buy. Don't want to buy back until the 18 average comes in place. That looks like 58.53 to me. That didn't take long. Doesn't take long. Now look at this situation here. If you sold, say, 1,000 at that price, buy a couple thousand back. You got a bit of Bitcoin profit. Now you got free 1,000 tokens, which you know exactly how you're going to be using it at. And it actually, your buy order got hit in here. So no, I'm not buying at that price. I already got the 38.31. That's even better. Let's just put this sell order back up again. But huge, huge gains, as you can see. So now it's back to the grind. Okay. I didn't know that was going to happen. My memory is not that good. Wow. Wow. Okay. Okay, gains. Not bad. Not bad. It's actually amazing. It's actually quite phenomenal. I'm being sarcastic when I say not bad. I guess after this happened, you'd be putting your buy order back in. I'd go down here. I was going to say go back below here, but 55.76 gets re-hit. So now think of this here for a second. You sell 1,000 here. You put a buy order in to buy back about 2,500. You sell about 1,500 or so of those 2,500 here. And then you buy back about 3,400 or so. Well, at least 3,000. At least 3,000 back, which means the sell order you would put back would be for over 2, which I'm going to put back. And it would be just below this high like that. 3-time hit. But you're still looking to do your normal trading. Again, 22.79. Sure thing. And if there's a buy order in anywhere near, it's definitely nowhere near. It's 1,000 basically is where I would have any buy order. I'm not going to draw it in. It's just I'd buy it 1,000. Just my brain will remember that if it gets there. And I can't remember if it did or not. 1,008. I'd have like 1,001, 1,002. I see 820 as a low. Yep, so I'm going to put the buy 1,000 in. M2. So now you have to make a decision. Do you sell at 44.73 after buying below here? The answer is yes. Now, if you barely sold above the 18 average of highs because you sold well below, or because you bought well below the 18 of lows, then you almost don't want to buy this back until it makes it below. But if you're selling at 44 and buying back at 2,000, profit. So you can buy back at whatever good profitable buyback number. Okay, let's continue on. See, there's a spot. I have the sell order here. Delete the sell order. Take the sale at 13,360. And then maybe put a buy order back in down towards this 18 average of lows. Because it's just getting sick if you can nail like a... I mean, it's sick enough if you nail a 25. I'd take the 18 average of highs at the 36. Let the market move. Do you want to settle for 7,000? The old rule, like I talk about here, is after a big move, wait for it to go to the 18 lows. If it pierces below it and comes back within the day, pay the 7,001. And within such, remove the buy order down to here. So the sell for 13,360 got back at 7. Your last sell was 44.73, so you don't want to buy that back till 3,000. So a significant break below the 18 lows would accomplish such. And time moving on. Market's just going through a period where you have the end of August, the first few weeks of September. Not doing much. You check your computer every day, but nothing to get excited about. Do you want to buy here? You'd be like, no, that's higher than where I sold it before. 39.64. You can start to get a gain, but it's microscopic now. Now, one reason why you would is because it's well below the 18. And even if it's at a losing price, you still take it because you know you're just looking to sell that at like 7, 8, 10,000. But as we move through in time, of course I know December's coming, so this should pop up. But there's 27.67. So that's a decent size up move. And there's your close that day, 49.64. You already see what happens the next day, but to get these types of moves, and you can see I'm looking at the daily chart, and I'm only taking what the closing price is for my buys and sells. So if you only logged on to the computer once per day, you'll get these results. Next day you log on, you see 33.74. You're like, how do you do, basically? You're doing well. And we move on, and here's the spot where 55.60. But what we're noticing is we're getting a lot of different trade volume. This is a lot of trades that have went through. And they're not for piddly small amounts for what the execution is. Well, that's interestingly large, 12,790. As these profits would be too. You can see why I'd want to get very, very, very aggressive. Probably with 10 to 20 different codes doing the strategy. I just got to figure out which. OK Cash is one of them. I did this recently. It was just before this. It was phenomenally well as well also. There's your sell order being hit. And I didn't know that that was a number. Just put it there. It's just that's the place. And let's get real. It'd be like 29 change. So I'm just going to even do that. So at this case, I'm probably looking to buy this back at around 10,000. I mean, the volatility moves, as you can see, going down 2, 3, 4x is like normal. Now I could buy this at the 16. And quite frankly, I'd buy it here at the 12,380. And then of course that buy order would get deleted. And maybe put one down towards here. And then the market moves, realizing I need a decent break below this support to be a buyer. Selling if it gets nicely above this 18. That's not nicely above. Now the Pierce would have been. Again, that's why you like sell orders. And that's where we stand right now. So then, I would be selling on any closing day that has any decent gains above here into the 20s, continuing on. Buying if it breaks down below this support. I'd already have this hypothetical buy order in at 28 and change. But reviewing these moves, just phenomenal what you could be making in return when you use the strategy of, okay, when I make a transaction, I want to profit both my base currency, Bitcoin, and in this case, UNB. So when you have situations where you're selling at 13,360, you're selling 1,000, like I've mentioned before, you could very easily buy back about 1,500 you would buy back for cheaper than you sold it for, thus profiting Bitcoin. And you'd be buying more of the altcoin, thus making more of such. And then when you have more, well, you have more Bitcoin for what you're trying to do, and that's profit in the market, which also gives you more buying opportunities if situations present themselves. And not even for other markets, that is, because you got so much extra cash. Cash equals Bitcoin, including Bitcoin Cash, I guess. But now you have extra tokens. You were able to sell maybe 3 or 4 different times in the early stages. Then you have a whole bunch of transactions. Now you can sell 5 or 6 different times. A few months go by, now you can sell 8 or 9 different times. That's what the plan is. And you're definitely selling for larger amounts when you can play this way. So before, it's the amount of gains you can get within this. And now let's just take a look at just the smaller codes. This isn't what you want to do with the dashes. I guess you could, though. Let's take a random letter. D. Descent. You're back in here. I'm not going to write it down. I'm just going to say it in this example. Okay, so I started right here. You buy it at 34. Okay. Wait. That's not low enough to buy. 27 could go lower. That's lower. 21, buy some more. Not quite. 16, buy some, no, not yet. 14, buy some more. If it breaks out, I would have sold. And maybe you would buy 10. Again at, say, 75. You're like, oh man, I'm going broke here. Question is, do you buy at 53? What's happened with this code, man? There's where you got some sells, 95. You're still down on this code by playing it, but at least you got some sort of profit. The 95, oh man, that didn't quite hit the 18 lows. So you get that 95 back at 65. You could buy some more at 34 here because that was just too big of a move down. You could sell that 34 at 63 here. Because again, if you're buying well below the 18 average of lows, selling it barely above the 18 average of highs is definitely sufficient. Sell some more here. Probably would have sold it. Well, I already did sell there, so I probably would have sold it after this candle at 88. And then I'd sell some more here at 14. And I definitely have a lot to sell after the buying sprees that I went into. Oh, baby. Yeah, buy some more here. And that's where we stand today. So just one random code again showing this type of strategy. And that's what I like about this type of platform is just going back in time and thinking of any type of strategy you might want to implement. I didn't want to add an alert there. Let's get rid of it. But go for a strategy that you think, okay, let's see how it would prevail. When you see it does really, really well, then you might want to focus on implementing it. And if it doesn't do so hot, then don't do it. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.